Home gyms are expensive. If I had to build my home gym over again from scratch, I would probably do it in phases. Let me show you how I would spend the first $1,000 to get the most bang for my buck. Good morning. Welcome to week 17, day 2. It is heavy pull day. Yesterday, my workout was inhibited a little bit by head cold. I'm feeling much better today. I'm still not feeling 100%. So I will probably still back off the volume a little bit today, but I feel like I'm feeling much better, so I'll probably be able to push it a little bit more. So it might not be a full 50 or 60% deload. It might be more like 75% or something like that. My heavy pull day workout is deadlifts, weighted pull-ups, bent over barbell rows, dumbbell pullovers, and easy bar bicep curls. So we will go through that and I'll tell you what I'm feeling at each lift, how many sets and reps I'm going to do versus what I would normally do. For my deload weeks, I always try to do the same weight that I did in the actual routine, just to keep my body used to lifting heavy things. And I just back off the sets or the reps to get the volume down. So the weight will probably be about the same, maybe a little bit more, because I found out my 1 rep max for deadlift is higher than we estimated. So anyway, the other thing that we're going to be talking about is building a home gym. So I have a video out there where I just list off all the stuff that I have, and I talk about what I built it out in phases. But what I want to talk about today is if I had to start over from scratch, how I would phase it out and what I would get in that first phase. So I'm trying to do it, get good quality, but also spend as little as possible. So I'm thinking, what could you do with that first $1,000? What could you get the basics that you need? So I'll show you what I'm thinking and would love to hear your ideas about it too. Let's get started. All right, let's get this first warm-up set of deadlifts. If you follow my workouts for a while, my compound lift warm-ups are always 2 sets of 50%, and I do 10 reps or 10 to 15, somewhere around there. And then the third warm-up set is 75% of my working weight, and I do between 6 and 8 reps there. And then my working set is heavy. My compound lifts, I like to do 4 to 6 reps. So that means heavier weight. It's more of strength building rep range. That is what I have found that I enjoy and works for me. So that being said, I've got 155 loaded on here. We'll do 10 or so. Be sure to stick around to the end of the video. Since I was sick yesterday and also feeling quite bloated with water weight from the weekend, I didn't do a physique update, so I will do that today. Even though I still haven't lost all the water weight from the weekend, nevertheless, I want to try and keep apples to apples comparisons, so I've been doing Mondays. The farther away I get from Monday this week, the less of a weekly comparison it will be. So we will do a physique update, and then we'll also do my daily check-in. Every workout, I go into my phone and show you what my weigh-in was this morning, how that fits into the weekly average, how we are on track or not on track for the weight loss goal. And we look at the food from the day before in my food tracking app, look at my calories, my protein, and again, how I hit the targets or missed the targets. Because I think that is this other side of fitness that doesn't get talked about a lot, doesn't get shown a lot. Everyone's got a video showing you what workouts to do to get strong and build muscle, lose weight. No one is showing you exactly how to eat food on a consistent basis, what to do when you have a big miss a large calorie day, what to do, how to recover from that. So I feel like it's really important to show that. And I do it every workout at the end of the workout, so stick around. All right, warm up set 2. We're still at the same weight, doing 10 again. Hopefully, the whole goal of the second warm up set is just for it to feel like it's moving a little bit better. First one always feels stiff. All right. The third set, warm ups. Starting to already feel warm. I had to take the hoodie off. We're rolling along on deadlifts here, so let's break the ice here on the topic. $1,000. What can you get for $1,000? Can you build a home gym? I would say you cannot build a comprehensive home gym, but I do think that you can buy enough equipment to do workouts at home. Now, the type of equipment you buy will depend on the type of workouts you want to do. So I will talk about what I would build for me because of the style of workout that I do. And then we'll talk about maybe a couple other options that you might want to go. All right, first working set, we've got 305 loaded on here. What's interesting is having done 1 rep max last week, well, 305 doesn't sound that heavy. That's the heaviest that I was doing before. So be interesting to see how we do today. Psychologically, that makes a difference, but then also psychologically, I'm not feeling 100% because I'm a little bit sick. So see how it all shakes out. Let's see. Still feels good. So I would spend my first $1,000 from the first phase of my build out on powerlifting equipment. Basically anything that I would need to be able to do my core lifts, bench press, squat, and deadlift. I pick those because I feel my opinion is, well, I guess it's not even an opinion. You work out more of your body in these core lifts, right? It involves the core. Even when you're doing bench, you're doing more than just your chest. When you're squatting, you're doing more than just your quads. When you're doing deadlift, you're getting your whole body involved. So I feel like they are the closest you get to being able to do, quote, full body type of a workout without actually having to do separate workouts and different movements. To me, they are the most bang for your buck when it comes to building strength. You can use them for conditioning and just overall, you can also hypertrophy as well. Now, and anyone can do them. I will say that there are people who have called in, especially deadlift and squat, they've called those into question on whether they are good for longevity, quoting risk injury and stuff like that. And what I would say is that you don't have to do the 4 to 6 rep range and do super heavy weights. You can still do that, quote, hypertrophy rep range in that 12 or that 10 to 12 range. You can do 15 reps if you want and keep the weight lighter. Even with squats, there are things that you can do to do unilaterally. If you're worried about having a heavy weight and doing 2-leg squats, you can do 1 leg, which takes the weight down even more, right? Like Bulgarian split squats. So I'm a big fan of barbell type workouts, I think that for me, they are the foundation of what I do. And so that's where I would spend the first $1,000. Now, I know that other people might have different opinions on what their foundation is. They may lean more towards body weight workouts, or they might want to do more dumbbell based workouts, or they want to do more cable or machine based workouts. And that would obviously affect your decision for where to spend your first $1,000. For me, I'm going to put my money where I'm going to get the most bang for my buck, and I'm going to get the powerlifting equipment. So next I will break down what that is, where I would get it, and how much it would cost. Ideally around $1,000. That's what we said, right? That first set of 4 felt like a good stimulus. Still felt heavy, even though I talked about, 305 doesn't seem like that much after doing almost 400, but it is when you're doing multiple. You're doing more than just a single. I will say I had worked my way up to 3 sets of 5. I only did 4. So that's maybe not a bad place to stick around. It's just maybe do 3 sets of 4 this week, and that will be less volume than my normal volume, but not setting any records or technically even overloading. So that being said, let's shoot for, I'd be happy with anything in the 3 to 5 range here. Feel my grip go on that. So where I would spend my money right here. First things first, getting a barbell, and specifically a powerlifting or a power bar, because it's going to, number one, it's going to be a little bit thicker than an Olympic weightlifting bar. Those are meant for doing cleans and presses over your head and stuff like that, and they have a little bit more flex. Powerlifting bars, a little thicker, a little less give, and typically you'll find they have a little bit more aggressive knurling, which I like, which helps with grip. So I'll show you where I would be getting this and how much it would be cost, but first I'll just lay out the other things. Obviously the next thing would be weights. So barbell, weight plates, some kind of bench back there, if I can point to it, and some kind of power or squat rack. That would be what I would think would be the minimum you would need to get started with a home gym with powerlifting and core compound lifts as your foundation, right? You can get away with not having a cable machine or dumbbells. You can get away with a lot by just having those things. Obviously, you can do your 3 main compound lifts. You can also do, if you consider overhead press another compound lift, that's a 4th one that you can do. And you can do all kinds of accessories with a barbell as well. And you can do accessory work with body weight things. And then the thing that I like about starting out with like some kind of a rack is that you can buy things over time. So I talked about this would be the first phase, but then I have just continued to buy $50 piece of equipment, $100 piece of equipment here and there over time. I didn't buy all this all at once, right? So you can get sometimes they will come, sometimes they won't, with a pull-up bar. You can add that on. You can add on safety racks. You can add on dip bars. You can add on, some of them like this one, you can add on cable machines later. So that's why I would just start with your barbell, weights, a bench, and some kind of rack. Let me show you in a little bit about the place that I would go to get that. Obviously, you can also go to secondhand, right? You can go to Facebook Marketplace and stuff. There's obviously risk involved in that. You never know exactly what you're getting, but that's certainly an option. But I'm going to show you what I would do if I were buying something new. All right, last set. So we are going to end up with the full 3 sets. It's not too bad. I'm feeling fine. Yeah. All right. Feeling good. Not that song is feeling good, I think. Not feeling fine. Oh well. All right, next up we've got pull-ups. These are weighted. I just have 10 pounds, nothing too crazy. We're gonna shoot for, looks like 3 sets of 8 is what I've been doing. I think that's on the most I've done, so 6 would be also an acceptable rep range. Oof. We'll leave it at 6 today. All right, so you're like, great, I'm gonna buy powerlifting equipment. Where do I do that? Because I go to Rogue, and that's $2,500 of equipment that you just talked about. So I'm not affiliated with these people. I'm not a big enough YouTube channel to do that, but Titan Fitness, if you've never heard of it, check it out. Let me screen share real quick. All the stuff I just talked about. You've got an adjustable bench, which is preferable because then you can do incline work. You've got an economy set of bumper plates, a performance series power bar, and a squat stand, all for just over $1,000 plus. Oh, it's not showing up now, but usually they have a 10% off if you sign up for emails. So at 10% off, that'd be even closer to 1,000. Of course, taxes and stuff will bump it back up, but I just wanted to show you that it is possible to get started with a home gym for around $1,000. Obviously, I think the only thing I didn't have on there were weight clips, but you can get those for, I don't know, 10, 20 bucks. And that's just like a medium of the road. I would say Titan Fitness is really good quality. I think it's mostly made in Japan. That's how they keep made in China. That's how they keep the prices down. So it's kind of Rogue if it were made in China. And then if you want to go even cheaper, there are cheaper options. I just have never experienced them, so I can't vouch for the quality and what you would be getting, but you certainly could get that same type of equipment from an even cheaper place. I bet the Temu app, I bet you can get this stuff for $500 total. So that is how I would spend the first $1,000. I'll give some caveats to say, and it would really be nice if you had a couple extra dollars to get this or this right away. And then we'll talk about maybe a grand scheme of then once you save up another $1,000, what might be the next purchase, that kind of a thing. All right, second set, pull up. So you're gonna be able to see me. Put it up a little bit. I want my head to be chopped off. All right, 6 to 8 of these. Some things not included in that initial thing, in that initial $1,000 shopping cart I just showed you. Flooring. Now, I don't know what your setup is. Maybe you're looking at converting a garage or a basement. Those are usually the most common things. You might be able to, if you get the bumper plates instead of cast iron plates, you might be able to get away without flooring to start. I would always recommend trying to get some flooring eventually, because that wear and tear can wreak havoc on your foundation especially if you're doing heavy deadlifts that you're dropping a little bit. And then if you're on the second floor of your house on just hardwood floor, you might have to just do it right away or try to get at least a rug or something down. And that's the reason I didn't include flooring, is because you can get away with it for a while. You can maybe even just put down some rugs or blankets to drop your deadlifts on for the time being. So you can get away with it, but that might be the very next thing I would buy. And you don't have to do the plywood. You can just get the regular flooring. Titan has little puzzle piece things that you can get, 12 squares of that, or you can get what I've got are these stall mats. You can get them from Tractor Supply. You can get just horse stall mats and put those down. A word of warning, they will smell. They have an off gas period that they will smell heavily, but it goes away. So what I actually have here is I have a layer of 3/4 inch plywood, OSB, cheaper plywood on the bottom, and then I have 3/4 inch maple plywood here in the middle, and then 3/4 inch stall mats on the side. So that is protecting the foundation of my house, absorbing a lot of that shock and stuff. So you're going to spend more money on flooring than you want. That's why I didn't include it at first. It's one of those things where you're like, it costs how much? I want to say that these stall mats were $60 each. So for 4x8. And then plywood, you can spend over $100 on a 4x8 sheet of plywood nowadays. So bear that in mind. Probably think about another couple $100 for flooring. Let's get back to the workout and we'll talk about a couple other quick add-ons. All right, we've got last set of pull-ups. There we go. All right, bent over barbell rows. Got 3 sets of 10 here. We may cut that down a little, we'll see. Sorry about that, got called away to the contractor. See if I can finish these up real quick. The next first add-on, I don't know if you can say next and first, but thing I would get next would be the pull-up bar. So you might notice the squat rack that I listed. It's a little bit cheaper and it didn't have the pull-up bar included. You can add that on. I forget how much it costs, maybe a couple $100, I'm not sure. So that's another, not a huge expense that you have to buy. That's just something, after you save another couple $100, you can add that on and build on to your foundation. Same thing with this dip bar, right? That's something that you can buy as an attachment that goes and just adds on to your foundation. And now all of a sudden you can do dips, right? Pull-ups are one of the foundational things for me, especially since starting with a powerlifting setup, we didn't have cable, so we can't do lat pull downs. So pull-ups are like that foundational vertical pull. So that is pretty key. After that, there's you can talk about getting a cable machine. I might veer towards getting some dumbbells first. Now, you can get a set of dumbbells, you can get adjustable dumbbells, but expect to pay anywhere from $500 to $2,000, right? Depending on the range that you need. I really like the Barbell dumbbells that I have. I want to say those are somewhere between $600 and $800, depending on which ones that you get. They have a 50-pound set and an 80-pound set. I really like these Pepin adjustable dumbbells that I have. And those you can get for a pretty decent price per pound. And that you can actually, I got these weights off of Facebook, right? So they're the pancake weights. If you've ever seen these, they're not the Olympic ones. It's the smaller hole. And that's what those dumbbell Pepin ones are. So I got a great deal. I think I spent less than $1 a pound on these pancake weights on Facebook. And then I just got the adjustable system from Pepin and saved some money that way. And that's what I use for heavy dumbbells, right? So the way that you take it after you get your foundation is kind of flexible. It's kind of, well, what kind of workout do I want to go to next? What am I wanting to do? Am I wanting to focus on more single arm or dumbbell type things, or am I wanting to do more machine pulling type things? And that'll determine whether you go dumbbells or cable machine. Obviously, I've got the hex bar back there. That's an option for you if you want to take it easier on your back for deadlifts. What else? Oh, guys, a really cheap thing. Before you go for a cable machine, get some bands. You can do almost all of the, you can do pretty much any of the cable workouts you can do with bands. Obviously, it's not going to be exactly the same, but you're talking $100 for a full set of bands versus $1,000. I don't know if that's exactly what the price is, but that's the scale you're talking about, 1/10 of the price probably. So other thing to think about too, in addition to foundation equipment, is accessories. belts and weightlifting shoes. I like having a belt that I can add weight to. That'll be something that you work towards with pull-ups and dips. But these things are talking less than $100. I think I got this strength lifting belt for like $40 off of Amazon, right? There are also different barbells you get. I have a great easy bar workout, and then there's storage to consider as well. So when you first start out, it's not a big deal. You can just pile your weights up on the ground. But after a while, you might want to store them on some rack storage like I have here. So hopefully that's not overwhelming for you. Hopefully my goal is to be encouraging, to say you don't have to get all that stuff all at once. That's all stuff that comes later, right? Get your foundation first. Spend your first $1,000. Get familiar with that equipment. Do a couple of full routines, full 8 to 10 or 12-week routines. So we're talking spend 3 to 6 months with that equipment. And while you're doing that, save money. I know it's easy to say save money. We're all feeling the pinch, but I think just start during that for first and second. When you've been doing the same routine for a while, think about what you want to do next. I think I'd like to move to dumbbell bench press next, or you know what? I think I'd rather get a cable, and so I can do some vertical rowing and horizontal rowing, and that's not on the barbell. So hopefully that's encouraging. You can get a foundation with about $1,000, and then you can just start adding things on here and there. I talked way too much just now. Sorry about that. We're going to get back to this. I think we've got another 8 of these to do. So for me, I think deciding to go with powerlifting equipment, the biggest toss-up, like I would never start with cable machines and machines. For me, the biggest decision was between dumbbells and barbell. And I think one of the main deciding factors for me was cost. So dumbbells are expensive, man. So like I said, these, just to go up to 80 pounds is almost $800, right? And they're expensive both in terms of cost if you go the adjustable route, but if you get a full set, then you're talking about space. So that's expensive that way. So for me, it was never really an option to have a full set. I did for a while have some iron ones that I got off of Facebook, but again, I just didn't have the space for them. And so once I had the money saved up, I went to the adjustable route. So for me to be able to spend, man, what was it? Like 150 or 160 bucks on a barbell, and then $500. So you're talking $600 total. And that's almost 300 pounds of weights right there, right? So I can pretty much do my deadlifts with that. I can't get enough dumbbell weight for the same cost to be able to do heavy deadlifts. So it came down to, so that was one factor. Obviously we talked about how I like compound lifts, and I think that they're foundational to my workout style. So between that and then the cost factor, that was why I went for just the powerlifting, the barbell and weights. And then obviously you'd be getting a bench whether you went with dumbbells or not. So that's another factor. And then the squat rack is just really meant for powerlifting, and that's another obviously expense to that first one. But the reason that I like having that is because you can then add on the extensions that we talked about. Pull-up bar, dip bar, all kinds of extensions. If you go with the Titan one like I have, you can add a cable system directly onto it. You can add storage onto it and that sort of thing. So that's why I did what I did. Last set of these barbell rows. Talk about the versatility of barbell. Most people, when they think of rowing, they think of the cable machine or dumbbells, but barbell rows are great for strength building. I'm also really curious to hear from any of you who have tried some of the less expensive weightlifting equipment. Have you been able to get powerlifting set up for less than $1,000? Where'd you get it from? What was the quality? Did you like it? Was it worth it? Did you ever upgrade from it, or do you still use it? Because that would be certainly something I'd be interested in spreading, just to make this as accessible to as many people as possible. So I showed the Titan Fitness website because that's something I have experience with. I can speak to the quality. I've had this equipment for 5 years now, or something like that, 4 or 5 years. And not all of it is Titan. Like I did splurge and spend more money on my power bar. It's an Ohio power bar, and the plates are Rogue as well. And my bench is a Rep Fitness now. So I did spend a little bit more money on some things, but the power rack itself is Titan Fitness. My dumbbell stand is Titan Fitness, and the cable machine is Titan Fitness. So I did save a lot of money by going that route there. So on the other hand, have you done like me and spent more money? So I spent more money on a few things. Did you spend more money on your home gym and go with the full Rogue system, or like full power rack with cable machine built in and stuff like that? How has that worked out for you? Has it been worth it? Have you found that the extra money has been worth it? Do you still use it as much as you thought you would? I would be happy to hear from all people of different finance levels what has worked for you and what has not worked for you. All right, let's get some dumbbell pullovers. This would be the thing I would miss the most about not having dumbbells. It's not really a great way to do pullovers with the powerlifting equipment we just talked about. I guess you could just try to do it with a weight. So that would be fun to figure out, but so I do think, in the interest of time, I'm going to cut the workout a little short. I'm going to finish this last set of pullovers. We're going to skip curls today. Not a huge deal. We're just running a little bit up against time. And I still want to be able to do the physique update and the check-in for weight and nutrition with you all. So stick around for that. All right, last set. All right, quick check-in here. We weighed in 188.9 today, so we did drop a couple pounds from yesterday. Not quite the same drop we had last week where we went from 190 to 185.7, but we'll take it. Hopefully we'll just keep dropping the rest of this week. I think it is what it is. My water weight went way up. I don't think I gained much fat between last week and this week. We'll just have to see where things end up leveling off after getting a few regular calorie days under our belt. Yesterday I stuck to under 1,500 calories. I think part of that was since I was feeling a little bit sick, I just didn't have a huge appetite, so that helped stay under calories. But when you're sick, more calories is probably more helpful to help you recover. So it's all, who knows how it all shakes down in the end. Today we're gonna try to stick to 1,500 or so calories again. The protein ratio was decent yesterday, so for only having 1,446 calories, 132 grams of protein is not bad. That's almost, I know that's not 180 grams, but for me, it's difficult to get past 10 grams of protein per 100 calories. So to get to 140 grams of protein would have been like, I'm trying my best. I'm only getting 1,400 calories, so that's all I can do. If you look at the food itself, a David bar with a protein coffee in the morning. Maybe I could have stacked the protein a little bit more at lunch. I just had some popcorn, some chopsticks, and some goldfish. So maybe instead of goldfish, could have grabbed something else protein heavy like a yogurt, or maybe it would have bumped me up another 10 grams of protein for the same amount of calories. Dinner, just chicken noodle soup. Again, I did have some crackers, which is another 100 grams of carbs. A beef stick while I was waiting, a David bar for a snack at some point during the day, an apple for a snack, a yogurt for a snack. I did get this mini Airhead candy, so that's again another 47 grams of calories. That's mostly carbs. I got that with these. I'll show these off in another video. I got my replacement knee sleeves from A7, so I went up the size. I think those are going to work for me. They're still tight. They're maybe not as tight as I've seen other people do, but I think it's about as tight as I can stand. Another David bar, graham cracker. So a thing that I would like to change for today is maybe have more for my snacks to focus on protein heavy snacks. If maybe look at more like yogurt type stuff, or things that are just lower calorie like carrots. That would be how I would increase my protein ratio. All in all, the goal is to try and get down to 180 in the next 4 weeks. It looks impossible being at 191 yesterday and 188 today, but we'll just kind of see how this week goes once I lose the water weight from the weekend. That's really all you can do. One thing that might be helpful would be to look at the smoothed weight from Macro Factor. See, I'll try to record this too. So it has my weight trend. You can see the dots are the weight trend that they calculate. The lighter purple line, solid line, is the actual weight. So you can see it spiked and then came back down. And you see that shown here, where yesterday my weight trend was 187.4 and today it was 187.6. So it's, rather than going up, it started to level out. And I would imagine tomorrow, if I lose more weight, it'll level out even more or start coming back down. 3-day trend is up, 7-day trend is up, but I imagine those will start changing soon. So I like looking at the smooth thing because it does say if you keep this up, you're going to be trending up, but oh, you lost a bunch of weight. We're not going to shoot all the way down. We're going to start slowly adjusting. So it's saying that my average weight's probably around actually 187, which is interesting. If I can get that down to 184 in the next few weeks, then I think I could lose 2 pounds of water weight to make weigh-in for the powerlifting meet. That would be the goal. So that's the check-in. Thanks for sticking with me if you're here. As always, like and subscribe if this is helpful and interesting. I'll see you next time.